Once a cop, let it knock, yeah. I for one thing we should celebrate redemption instead of condemning it. Corey Pegues up, talking truth, bruh. Check it out. Once a cop.
Pull up a seat. You're now in Corey's Corner, where right conversations matter. I'm your host, Corey Pegues, and I always keep it right, not real. On this episode of Corey's Corner, I'm sitting down with a true architect of influence. Born in Miami and sharpened in the streets of East Flatbush, Brooklyn, Josh Dieudonne has flipped culture into real political power. By 22, he was already advising the mayor as the chair of New York City Youth Advisory Board, and today he's the founder of Project 2028, pushing a bold agenda around wealth creation and opportunity. From introducing the Young Entrepreneurship Bill to bridging the gap between City Hall and the streets, JD, as he likes to be called, is proving that you don't need a title to shift the system, you need a strategy. This is a conversation about influence, ownership, and rewriting the rules. Let's get into it, Josh. Welcome to Corey's Corner.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you for having me.
Been waiting for you to come, brother.
Yes, sir.
This episode of Corey's Corner is brought to you by Vodka, premium blend of vodka and tequila. So if you're having a party, promotion at work, or just want to have a sip of some of the smoothest, fine, premium blend liquors in the world, reach out to Vodka.net to find more. Also, Corrupt Mob MC, not just a motorcycle club, it's a family, bridging the gap from the streets to the clubhouse. Respect the mob. Okay, let's get into it. You were born in Miami, but raised in East Flatbush. How did those two environments shape who you are today?
Well, I was only about 1 year old when I moved from Miami.
Yes.
Yes.
Zoland, huh?
Yeah, Zoland. So I didn't really get to experience the Florida culture and Miami culture and be around the Zoes and the Haitians.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but my mom worked hard. She got us from Florida to New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody know Brooklyn is treacherous.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And like they say, Queens get the money, but I'm pretty sure they be like, you know, Brooklyn be robbing. they be into all different types of things, into the violence and into the action. You know? So yeah, it was pretty tough, but I would say it would be the Brooklyn environment and the Queens environment that raised me because I went to school out in Queens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so because my mom didn't want me to be, you know, in that environment as a young man,
right,
and get involved in the street culture at a young age. So she wanted me to get away from that and go to school in Queens where it's a little less, you know, violent.
Because you said Queens get the money and Queens got all the honey, so it was nice she sent you out here, you know. What was life like growing up in Flatbush? What did you see that most people wouldn't understand unless they lived it?
What did I see? I mean, just how the community banded together, right? Like, I wouldn't be afraid to go to my neighbor's house and be like, we're out of peanut butter.
Right.
Can I get some? You know, and they will give it.
Yeah.
And just being that community where we all know each other, growing up, but it's not like that now. But growing up, it was like the whole community was together. And even though that was tough, even though that things were going down in the community, my community always had each other's back.
Yeah, fun fact. I'm the first Black commanding officer in the history of the New York City Police Department since 1865 to run East Flatbush, Brooklyn, the 6-7 precinct.
Yeah.
So I know that the 6-7 precinct is all Caribbean. Haitian, it's the second biggest Haitian community in the country. You got Miami, and then you have East Flatbush, and they have Antiguans, Barbadians, St. Lucians, Jamaicans. They're all there. What amazed me about East Flatbush, Brooklyn, when I went there and took over, there was no fucking projects. I did not believe that there was no project. I thought Flatbush Gardens was a project. It wasn't a project. It was like low-income housing.
Yeah.
And East Flatbush 6-7 Precinct Park was the second most violent precinct in the city of New York. We always led the city with gun arrests. was top 3, top 4 in crime. You know, it would be 677-573. And it was, so that's like East New York, Brownsville, and East Flatbush. You had a high probability of getting robbed, raped, shot, murdered. But when you riding around the community, it was like really nice. But at nighttime, it was just crazy. But for the Haitian community, I can honestly say it wasn't a lot of the Haitians committing the crimes. Because obviously I had to chart everything. It wasn't a lot of it was a few of the Haitians committing the crimes, but it was all the other Caribbean, mostly Jamaicans, committing the crimes in East Flatbush. It amazed me. Was there a specific moment growing up where you realized that you wanted more than you was around?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I remember just being on the block one day chilling with my friends. And we used to play basketball a lot. So we would bring out the hoop, shoot hoops and everything like that. And then one day, a car came down the block and just started shooting. And it's just like, because I wasn't really fully aware of the people I was playing basketball with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I would like to play basketball with older adults, you know what I'm saying? Because from my perspective, if I play against older guys, I would get better at a young age.
Play up.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so just at that moment, just getting shot at and just being in an area where, you could possibly die was like a real wake-up call to me that, like, I got to get away from all this. Right. And everybody, like, every day, every other day, they would call me like, yo, why you not coming outside? Where you at? You know what I'm saying? I'm not coming out there because it's a whole bunch of violence. Y'all getting shot at. I don't got time for that. You know what I'm saying? I got a life to live. I got things to accomplish.
Right. So who were your earlier influences? Was it street figures, political figures, family that shaped your mindset?
Oh, it was definitely street figures. You know what I'm saying? OGs that were up the block from me. You know what I'm saying? That always looked out for me. And even though they was doing the things that they was doing, they was like, yo, you different. That path that everybody else is going down, don't go down that path. Make sure you stay in the gym, continue working out, continue. I see you reading because you sounded more, you know what I'm saying, articulate. Keep doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I kind of went down like that same path in a way that they told me not to go down. But I caught myself. But I don't even want to say I caught myself. I would say God didn't let me drown.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of street figures. I didn't even know what politics was. You know what I'm saying? Because they weren't in our communities like that. Like I wouldn't say like they were really making themselves present. So the streets was really the people that I looked up to and giving me advice on certain things, on how to move. And even when that situation was getting shot at, those guys saw my face. And so from there, certain people just started telling me, yo, you got to move like this. You got to 2 blocks down. You really got to supposed to know like who's down that block. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like you got to have superhuman powers and kind of have be on that like heightened sense. And always be aware of your surroundings no matter what from far away.
So you became a mayoral advisor, chair of New York City Youth Advisory Board at the tender age of just 22, which is not normal. How did that opportunity come your way?
I was doing security at Nostrum at Columbus Circle, right, in the city. And so I was watching the cameras, right, and making sure everything's going good in the store, nobody's stealing. Because I was one of those guys that was like running down undercover, as you would say, running down to stop the guys that's stealing all the merch and everything like that. And so the mayor walks in. And
who's the mayor at this time?
Eric Adams.
Okay.
So he walks in the store. I see him on the camera, and I'm like, "Oh, it's the mayor that walked in." Okay, cool. And I just brushed it off. And then a quote came into my mind: "Discipline weighs ounces, and regret weighs tons." So you know what I said to myself at that very moment that God dropped that quote in my head? I said, I'm not going to regret not meeting him. So as I was walking up to him, everybody was taking photos, pictures. And you know me, coming from where I'm coming from, I'm not really into all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I just walked up to him and I said, I just want to introduce myself. And from that very moment, just a minute, literally, he said, you seem like a well put together young man. Let's exchange numbers. And from there, we exchanged numbers. And he said, I want you to come into government and start to lead. And that's where we formed the chair of the New York City's Youth Advisory Board. And I started to play out that role.
Nice. That's beautiful. So for the audience, don't ever blow your opportunity. When the opportunity is in front of you, you got to grab it by the horns, because that quote you said is heavy. What did you see inside City Hall that changed how your view of power and politics was?
The view inside City Hall, I would say that it was just game changing, right? Because all I knew was the block.
Right.
I get on a train and I ride past City Hall all the time. You know, and you hear it, you hear them make the announcement, but you have no idea what it is.
Right.
Because this is not what was put on the television or on the YouTube, not in front of me, so I wasn't aware of it. And so when I got inside City Hall, I was like, whoa, there's another life for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is so crazy, because I literally got the chance to help out youth and young adults in my neighborhood and in my network, and actually bring them to Gracie Mansion and actually have a meeting with the mayor, the chancellor, and the former DYCD commissioner at the time, right? And really talk about the resources that the inner city youth wasn't getting, right? Because like I said, this was not put in front of them.
Right.
So they're not aware of it. And so they could have gone any other route, you know what I'm saying? Posted an announcement saying, we're looking for youth and young adults to form an advisory. But by meeting me, they saw the inner city youth in me and said, let me go down this path. And from there, I realized that there was so much that our community was missing out on, and realizing that I have to find creative ways to get the message out and make sure that we're seizing all of these resources that we're missing out of.
Nice. But a lot of people get lost in the system. How did you maintain your identity? Because you was from the streets of East Flatbush while navigating those spaces.
I'm just making sure I keep it right, not real.
Oh! I wish we had a bell. We need a cow horn bell here. Ding, 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 ding. I love it.
Yes, sir. Because it's always about doing the right thing.
Right.
You know, and you know, my roots is in religion. You know, I'm Christian, and so reading the Bible it wasn't about what I thought was real or about being gangster. It was about what is right and what is wrong.
Right.
So staying true to, you know, the Bible's word and making sure that I stay focused on giving my community the resources that they need and not focusing on I would say the advantages that people take, you know, I would say abuse, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And making sure I do the right thing.
That's good. You're one of the few people from the Eric Adams administration that's sitting here right now and you don't have no indictments on your head. Thank God for that, right?
Yeah.
You've mastered turning cultural influence into legislative power. Break that down for us.
Well, there were a lot of things that was missing in city government, and that was culture, right? And the culture of the young people specifically, right? The culture that went viral on Instagram and all social media platforms, right? And so I've noticed that, you know, the people that are aware of, you know, city government, it's like a revolving door. A new mayor comes in, he meets the same people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's nothing new. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Right.
And so I'm like, this is very confusing, because it's like, how are we reaching out to other people and more people to get them involved?
Right.
Right. So I started thinking on creative ways, right? I did this event called We Trending, right? I brought about, I would say, 50 young influencers within my network that has millions of followers on Instagram and YouTube and whatever platform you could think of, to come to an event that we did with the DYCD and NYC service to make sure that we use their viralness, right? And I want you guys to understand that these are my friends, right? So I'm putting my friends in position and also making sure that it's mutually beneficial.
Exactly.
Right? That I don't just try to use anybody, because that's not who I am as a person.
Right.
I want to make sure you get something out of it. Right? So they would come, they would take advantage of the resources and then also share the resources and create viral videos. Right? And from that one event that we did, we garnered about, I would say, over 1 million views for the agencies, because they was going around to the different agency tables and making videos on the resources, different resources that they had.
Wow. Yeah, that's dope. Why do artists and public figures trust you with their moves behind the scenes?
Well, I would say it's all about keeping it right. They knew that I'm an authentic person. Right? And so it was kind of like easy to trust me, to trust and to know that, you know, they probably haven't heard of me, right? But when we had that conversation, like, I'm from Flatbush,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't grow up in politics.
Right.
I didn't grow up around City Hall. I have no idea about it. But I'm in this position now, and we could work together, and we could make something mutually beneficial for everybody and for the people that we're serving specifically, right? So I would say that another thing is that they really didn't understand how to make an impact. See, most artists will go when it's Thanksgiving time and give out turkeys.
Right.
You know, like,
everybody.
How many times we've seen that? And so I'm like, yo, we got to make a difference. We have to start making programs. See, the artists, the kids love the artists. Right. So you need to create a program that keeps kids in school. So that was my perspective. And so that's how I started to blend the culture with, you know, the civics and legislation and everything like that. We'll get down more into it.
Okay. You introduced the Young Entrepreneurship Bill. What made you say, I'm not waiting, I'm stepping into this space right now?
I think it's all about permission, right? And coming from Flatbush, it's like we don't wait for permission.
No, you don't.
You know, we don't wait for permission. So it was like I had the green light to do the things that I wanted to do, but also check in with the right people that understand government, right, to the T, and make sure that everything is in a straight line. With that being said, these commissioners, these individuals that held powerful positions in City Hall, they had a lot of things going on. So I make sure I check in with their staff, people right under them, and making sure everything is straight. And they'd be like, oh, we got to wait for, you know, this person on that. We got to wait for, you know, to get this person's approval. Right. And which I understood is the right thing to do. Right. But if I'm introducing legislation, this is my idea, right? That means that I can take my idea and go somewhere else. If you guys are taking too long, then I can go a different route.
That actually leads into the next question. What resistance did you face from the political establishment when you brought that bill forward?
They didn't really buy into it, probably because
you was a new 22-year-old kid.
Exactly.
Trying to make power moves.
Exactly. Trying to make power moves. And it was just too much of a big goal, right? And like you said, as a 22-year-old, like, yo, he's trying to do this. Let's slow down, bro. Slow your horses. You know what I'm saying? So from there, I was like, let me go a different route, because I was doing things on a citywide level, but I didn't really get involved with the, you know, local politicians, the council members, the assembly members. So I decided to go that route. And, you know, like they always say, or even in the Bible, like if one door closes, there's always multiple doors that you can go through. I had that in my mind, right? That nobody's bigger than God. And if God is putting this in my heart to say, go out and make sure this bill gets introduced,
Right.
then I said, I'm on that mission and I'm going to do it. And so we introduced the bill with Councilmember Kevin Riley, right? The bill is for youth and young adults from 18 to 30, helping them understand the procurement system. A lot of people don't learn the procurement system and how government contracts work until they get older. And so my mission is to help youth and young adults understand it at a young age so they're already ahead of the curve, right? And you can't become a billionaire or a millionaire without understanding government contracts and understanding the flow of the government money.
Right.
Right? You can't become Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos without understanding government subsidy. By starting this program at the age of 18, and I'm trying to get it into high schools as well, they'll have that understanding. And so they'll now be on a better route, right? Understand that they can make money right there in their community.
I love it. This is great. So, JD, we got this segment in the show called the Spitfire Round. Well, I'm asking you 10 rapid fire questions. You're going to answer them either one word, yes, no. Try not to expand too much. It's a fun game. You ready?
Okay.
Brooklyn or Miami?
Brooklyn.
Power or influence?
Influence.
Artist or politician?
Politician.
Closed door meetings or public platforms?
Public platforms.
Wealth or legacy?
Legacy.
One word to describe City Hall.
Hope.
Most overrated thing in politics.
Thinking politicians are like they're not normal people.
Most underrated move in business.
Making sure that the business move is mutually beneficial.
If you could change one law tomorrow, what would it be?
What I'm doing right now, I should say the state started out with MBE, that's on the federal level. MBE is on the federal level. MWBE is on the state level. And what I'm trying to do right now, MYBE for the state of New York.
Tell them what those acronyms stand for.
Minority, Youth, Business, Enterprise.
In one word, what is JD building?
Ownership.
Hey! Congratulations. Thank you for participating in the Spitfire round. That was nice. That wasn't bad, right? Before we move forward, let me take you somewhere for a second. Everything we talk about on this show, power, accountability, loyalty, redemption, it's not just a conversation for me. I've lived it, I've earned it, I've survived it. I've seen both sides of the system. I've walked the streets, I've worn the badge. I've carried the weight of decisions that change people's lives. That's why I wrote Once a Cop. It's not just a book. It's the raw, unfiltered truth about the journey from the corners of streets of Queens, New York, to the high glass hallways of New York City Police Headquarters, One Police Plaza. The pressure, the politics, the purpose, the cost, and a documentary, a cops and robbers story, pulls the curtain back even further. No headlines, no sound bites, just the human story behind the uniform, because behind every badge is a man, behind every rank is a story, and behind every story is a choice. Now a word from our sponsors.
This is not your average vodka. This is Vodkila, a decade of cultured excellence. The best of both worlds, the true taste of victory. A delicious dyad spirit, the world's finest blend of vodka and tequila. Vodkila, the perfect blend. From rooftop parties to quiet moments with friends, Vodkila brings the flavor, the fire, and the unforgettable. So pour it, share it, live it. Vodkila. Visit vodkila.net and order yours today.
I'm Rob Carnegie Jr. Check out Corey's Corner on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
Let's get to some more serious stuff. In the span of just 2 days, we lost two 15-year-olds. One being Jaden Pierre in Queens, New York, just a mile away from where we are right now, and another still unnamed 15-year-old in Long Island at Eisenhower Park, which is a mile and a half from where I live. What does this say about how normalized youth violence has become in our communities?
It's become overwhelming.
To say the least.
Yeah, because To see that young brother lose his life in front of about 30 other young people, and he's getting beat on, and nobody thinks to call the police.
Fuck the police. They didn't even think to help him.
Yeah. The only reason why I think that they didn't think to help him, because they knew there was some type of danger that they could have gotten into.
Gunplay.
You know, some gunplay that they could have gotten into.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I say for them the first thing that they should have done was call the police. Right?
And what you don't know, because you're from Flatbush, where he got killed, 3 blocks away from the precinct. Like literally, he got killed like on a corner of Merrick and Baisley, and the precinct is 3 blocks away.
Sad. So this was out of school when he was coming out of school, right?
School had just ended.
So where's school safety?
It wasn't close to the school. It's a few blocks away. So school safety have their own little zone. They don't really go outside of the school area. That's their area, the school area. But you know, we have violence interrupters out there. We have community-based organizations. We have a lot. So the end all be all, and let me cut the chase. You know, I'm a retired executive in the New York City Police Department. I have a few friends. I have a few friends at high places.
Yeah.
So I did a little research on this. This was a gang-related shooting. Wasn't about no water balloons. Wasn't about a rave where kids was going to the park. This was a gang-related shooting. Definitely. It was something that stemmed from early in school without, you know, getting into it and jeopardizing the case. This was a gang-related shooting, as well as the 15-year-old in Eisenhower Park was a gang-related shooting. There was a barbecue, gangs, and they invited the kids. So we have a serious issues with gangs, something that I've never seen. You know, again, being the commander of Flatbush, you might not want to hear this, but Flatbush had the most gangs in New York City when I was a commander. I'm pretty sure they're probably still up there. You know, GS9, Bobby Shmurda, all of them was on my wall. I was all up in those guys every day. The BMWs, I can remember the names of all of those crews. So gangs are an issue. I'm more pivoting on families holding parents accountable now. We'll speak about that a little bit. So both of these tragedies happen in parks, which are supposed to be safety zones, right?
Yeah.
Where's the real breakdown, you think? Family, community, policy, or leadership? And who should be held accountable?
I think it's family, and then I want to also include that the police should have done something as well, right? Because growing up in Queens, what they've done was they know the areas that the youth and young adults go to after school, right? So whenever I went to like this Burger King when I was in middle school, I went to the Burger King after school. It was a cop car always outside of that Burger King, because they knew that this is where youth and young adults were going to be together and do crazy things. You know, all the energy we got. And so not only the police, but the violence interrupters should have been out there. And also the family members should have been calling, you know, their children, making sure, are you in an after-school program right now? Or what are you doing? Are you way home? Or what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? To make sure we stay on top of them.
Let me touch on some of those subjects you said. So one, the family calling the kid, supposedly, allegedly, the kid called and said, can he go to the park to play basketball? But there was a balloon fight. This is what they're saying. All right. As far as the police concerned, believe it or not, cops are posted at that park.
Wow.
And from my understanding, there was a very, very, very short gap where a cop left and another one was coming a few minutes later, and they just didn't get there in time. So the cops know about that park. They know about people congregating in park. They know the hot spots, especially with all the raving now. The cops are, kids are going to parks and doing all this crazy stuff. And I'm not defending the police. I'm just telling you. But when you really look at criminal records of these kids that's shooting, these kids are in gangs. So I could use my son. He's 18. He just turned 18. I could use him for an example. I know he's not in no gang. I know for sure he ain't in no gang. I know I go up to him at any time, say, give me your cell phone. Unlock it right now. I'm going through his phone. I pay the bill. I'm going through the phone. I'm going through his dresser drawers. I'm going through his pockets. He already know. We ain't playing. He go to a party. I took him to a party last summer. There was a lot of kids there, and it didn't sit well in my heart. And I was like, I can't leave him here. And there was another parent with their kid. And we looked at each other, and I was like, I'm security tonight. So we kind of just stood there. This real parent shit. I don't have to go into all this, but that's the type of parent. You got to be on these kids.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, these kids got criminal backgrounds and everything. You know, everybody's crying, and, you know, yeah, it was a very tragic situation. But at what point, I'm not blaming, the police, the gang members, like, parents got to take hold of their children. Like, it is what it is. Like, you are the first line of defense. If you're not doing it, nobody else going to raise your kids but you. Here we got, think about this. Let's talk about the Pierre incident. Think about this. Ruined 6 lives. He's dead. The 4 that was beating him, they getting locked up for murder.
Yep.
That's a super fact. They getting locked up for murder. That's 4. And there's 1 on the lam, right? That's 5. That's 6 kids, 6 young black kids' lives ruined. 1 lost, and 5 never going to be the same. And I don't even know if they're going to lock other people up. But I could promise you, those 5, those are murder charges.
Done.
And, you know, so
it's sad.
We can have so many meetings.
I think that it takes multiple approaches.
Yes, it's definitely is.
So it's not me just saying that, because I also grew up and knew a lot of detectives. Like, my mom worked in the district attorney's office.
Yeah.
So I knew a lot of detectives, inspectors, you know, commanders and things of that nature. I have a whole bunch of respect for police. But I think it takes everybody.
It's a village. Like they say, it takes a village to raise a child. But with all the violence that I'm seeing, my mindset, Corey Pegues, this is me. I'm putting it at the lap and the feet of the parents. Because there's no way, like I just told you about my 18-year-old son, there's no way in the world that my 18-year-old son going to have 2 or 3 robberies in his past, assaults, and he living at my house. He got to get the fuck out. He getting out. Maybe the first robbery, I might let his mother put a titty in his mouth. But after that, nah, you do it again, you got to go. You know, we can't play these games with these kids. These kids are out at 15.
Yeah.
We ain't even talking about 22, 23, 24-year-olds. These are young kids.
Sad.
Gun violence continues to take the lives of inner city youth at an alarming rate. What do you believe are the root causes driving young people toward guns, and where are we getting it wrong as a society? Because we know it's a societal issue.
Yeah. I think it's the examples that we look up to, right? And we first go to music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you said a whole bunch of GS9.
Yeah.
Who was out? Drill. You know, a lot of these guys that was rapping, you know, that are kind of taking a turn now once they realize a lot of the things that they was rapping about, you know, was the life that they lived, but it wasn't the things that they want to push on the youth, but realizing that they did push it on the youth in a way. Just understanding the drill music and making sure your child is listening to something positive. Man, because if that plays in your mind 24/7, that's all you're watching on the computer and on your phone, that's what you're eventually going to be.
Well, I got a surprise for you. My little son that's 18 years old, there's a silver spoon in his mouth, house, 2 cars, white picket fence. All he listened to is drill music. And I'm like, so for me, I'm a hip-hop baby, you know. Grew up Run DMC, LL Cool J, that's my man, you know. And I remember my parents like, what the hell you listening to? You know, so as a parent, I'm like, I know he ain't into drill. I know for sure. But this is what he likes. I don't like it, but if your son is listening or daughter is listening to this stuff and living it out, that's different. He's listening to drill, but he drinking caramel frappes with 2 slices, you know, with extra sugar. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you know,
I hear
but
I
it's
hear what
very
you're saying.
influential.
Very influential.
Yes.
But he had a great father figure in his life.
That's another.
You know what I'm saying?
That's another issue.
And
yes.
so most of the young men that's growing up, we don't got fathers. I didn't have a father growing up.
Right.
In my
I didn't
life.
have one either. That's
You know
why
what
I'm
I'm saying?
trying to be the best I can be with mine.
I fully support fathers trying to be in their children's lives
Mm-hmm.
because it's so crucial at a young age that we need that firm structure
Mm-hmm.
that's going to tell us what it is. Like you said, you on top of it. You don't play no games.
No.
And so even though your child was listening to drill music, you know, my dad gonna whoop my ass if I ever try to go down that route.
That's right.
I think for me, not having a father in my life, I had to, well, not even I had to. My mom saw I needed to be around some positive male figures, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why she made me like, you know, come around certain inspectors and detectives. And, you know, they would just say, you know, little things here and there because same thing. I was on like listening to the drill music. And I think the streets is all I know. You know what I'm saying? It's about being real, not right. You know what I'm saying? So, but then understanding that I can't let that take over me, right? And knowing when it's a limit and not living it out.
Exactly. Definitely not. From your perspective, what are real actionable solutions, whether police, community-based, or cultural, that can actually reduce gun violence amongst our city youth?
I would say the programs, right? The programs that they're putting in these schools. They have to be attractive for youth and young adults. They have to have an incentive for them to stay after school and want to be in these programs, whether it be an artist program or whether that be
creative writing.
writing. But I would say you need to add that influencer piece, right? Because that's all the kids watch nowadays.
That's it.
Right? So you have to find a way to blend that culture of influence and the artists into these schools and get them in there because that's what the kids are watching. That's the kids want to be around. So when they're in that controlled environment, now it's easier to keep them away from that trouble. You know what I'm saying? And out the streets and out of those danger zones. And so I think that's what we need more of, right? And so that's why, you know, that was my focus from the jump. You know, and that's why we did. I believe we went up in 80% in getting youth and young adults involved in after-school programs and city services.
Right.
When I was involved as the New York City Youth Advisory Board chair.
I love that.
Yeah.
Something you just said was very important. I like that, and I hope you politicians are listening. You got to listen to the young people, young adults. You said integrating influencers into the kids because you know they online all day.
Yep.
If a kid got 50,000 followers or 3 million, they love the influencers, integrating them into the school system, setting them up into schools. That's a great idea. Now you started Project 2028, not Project 2025, which Mr. Orange started, okay? Project 2028. Let's start putting that out. Project 2028 is about wealth creation. What's the real goal behind this movement?
Well, the real goal behind this movement is to create ownership at a young age. See, billionaires' children and millionaires' children, they start them out young.
Yeah.
Put an LLC in their name at a young age and teach them how to make money, right? And teach them to invest in the stock market. Take that money that they build from that business and invest it in the stock market. Ownership, right? That's what Project 2028 is about. And I named it purposely Project 2028 because we had Project 2025.
Right.
2025.
I love it.
And so to flip that on its head, right? Because a lot of the things that they were pushing in Project 2025 were a lot of distractions. It was to get a reaction out of people, right? And what I'm pushing now is straight up, I want to increase the contracts, right, for youth and young adults in the city, in the state, and federal levels. Right, to make sure youth and young adults are involved and getting those contracts in their communities and at the schools that they go to. Right, because I want to give you this example. I believe in 2003, there was a company, I don't want to say the company, right? They owned most of the vending machines in Department of Education facilities and schools, right? And I think they own like around 90% of them. So if a youth or a young adult had an idea to start his own vending machine company, he couldn't go to the Department of Education and be like, yo, can I put this vending machine up? Because that contract was held by Snapple. Right. And tell me why they would choose a young person's business over a corporation that they've been doing this for decades.
Right.
They wouldn't go with the younger person's business.
Right.
And so that's the reality that we're in right now, is that New York City has a budget of billions of dollars.
Billions.
And even though they're yelling tax the rich, I think there needs to be a redirection of funds because the money's there. And so when youth and young adults are put on that frequency of, I need to start a business, right? Because New York City is expensive as hell already, right? So even if you freeze the rents, the rent is already high.
They still can't afford it.
They still can't afford it, right? So we need an initiative, which is Project 2028, to help youth and young adults take back ownership, understand cultural influence, right? Because that's the most important things youth and young adults have, right? And understanding that we need to help them build wealth right where they are. So I'm pretty sure you had a 9-to-5 when you were young, right? And
no, I sold drugs. I sold crack. I sold cocaine. I sold mescaline tabs. I carried guns. I never had a job. I had 2 jobs in my life. I went to the United States Army, and I was a cop. In my teenage years, I was a mess. I was a beast. But it was different. But
that was your 9-to-5, basically.
It actually was. We had 3 different tours. We worked 8 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon, 4 to midnight, and midnight to 8 in the morning. But I survived it, and I'm not glorifying that, and I don't want no other kids to have to go through what I went through, and that's why I try to make my kids' lives a lot easier so they don't have to do the bullshit that I did. Now, why is ownership the message you're pushing to the next generation instead of just access?
Because they've been preaching giving youth and young adults a seat at the table. And a seat at the table doesn't mean that you're going to get ownership.
Right.
It's just a seat at the table. You're just voicing your opinion. Right? You're voicing what matters to you. But then they go back and they say, what matters to us? And I'm talking about the politicians.
Right.
What matters to us? You know what I'm saying? For the most part, they're going to be like, what matters to us that's going to help us get votes?
Right.
So a youth or a young adult would go and say, yo, we're struggling. I have no place to live. 8,000, right? Pix 11 put this out. 8,000 college students were homeless or in shelters.
Wow.
New York City is has one of the highest poverty rates in the country, right? And
Per capita.
Yes. So to understand that youth and young adults are struggling and to say, how are they making it, right? And what are the answers that we have for them to actually thrive and not survive? Because youth and young adults have 9-to-5s, but they understand they can't make it with a 9-to-5. So they got to go start a business. They got to become an influencer, set up an LLC, got to go do nails, or got to do hair, got to do vending machines, got to do landscape, whatever that they can do in their communities. They got to hustle.
Speaking of that, you've helped women in the beauty industry tap into government contracting. Why was that a focus for you?
It's a focus for me because I understand where youth and young adults' attention is, right? Especially young women.
Right.
And making sure that we protect our young women and making sure they have an outlet, right, to get their what they're going through out. And understanding that hairstylists, right, they are also mentors and also therapists in a way. Right?
Absolutely.
Because when you go, even barbers,
barbershop, yeah, same
you
thing.
go to your barber, y'all talk,
Mm-hmm.
y'all talk about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your barber is almost somebody that you trust, and you can tell them things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the same thing for women.
Mm-hmm.
And so understanding that we need to start, you know, these beauty programs and helping hairstylists, right, get contracts and start helping these young girls out on the right path and leading them in the right direction of doing hairs, nails, and the beauty industry, not just hair and nails.
And that's $1 billion industry, multi-billion.
It's $1 billion industry. You see what Rihanna's doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You see what Kim Kardashian is doing.
Cardi B just started a line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I understand where youth and young adults' attention is.
Mm-hmm.
And so attention is like the new currency right now.
Mm.
So when you understand their attention, that's where you can get them out of those bad environments and get them into the right environments and get them to the next steps of their lives.
When it's all said and done, what do you want JD's name to represent in politics and culture?
Man, these are the questions that you got to think of. I would say when it's all said and done, I want to be that person to show my community that we can work together. Show youth and young adults that you don't got to get money illegally.
Right.
Right? You and your bros could partner together and start a business because Joshua created an NYPD bill and he passed it. And so we don't got to go out on the streets and sell weed, sell crack, whatever you got to sell. We can just go straight up to a school or the Department of Education and say, I want to start this business or I have a business. Can I get a contract?
Right.
Here's my game plan and make money right in their communities.
Oh, man, that's beautiful. Before we wrap, is there anything you like to share that we haven't talked about?
I would say just understanding that this is a legacy bill, right? Because it's going to change so much youth and young adults' lives. And it's going to be a movement of young entrepreneurs, right? That bands together, not just in New York City, but throughout the country.
Right.
Because there are millions of youth and young adults that are struggling. Trump knows it. He's saying the word affordability now. They understand that they have to address the issue. Because if they don't address the issue, there will be social unrest.
Right.
Right? And so I believe pouring into this program, NYPD, is the answer to how we make New York City and the country affordable for youth and young adults and a multitude of people.
Let the people know where they could find you. You need your social media handles. Just look in the camera.
Yeah. So you guys can find me at Josh D NYC on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. That's where you can find me.
Okay, Josh, I appreciate you coming through and pulling up a seat to Corey's Corner. Your story is powerful because it's right. You didn't just talk about change. You stepped into rooms and you made it happen. From Flatbush to City Hall, from culture to legislation, you're showing people that influence is currency. I like that. Influence is currency, and ownership is the goal. We're definitely going to be watching, see what you do next. Thank you again for pulling up to Corey's Corner. And to our listeners, stay locked in. We got more powerful conversations on the way. My brother, this was a great conversation, man.
Appreciate you.
Great hearing you. For our listeners, if you found value in today's episode, make sure you follow, subscribe, and support. This has been another episode of Corey's Corner. And remember, keep pushing, keep grinding. It's not about where you start. It's always where you finish. I'm Corey Pegues, and I always keep it right, not real. Peace.
Special thanks to our executive producer, our engineers, and much respect to Corrupt Mob for making Corey's Corner possible.
Once a cop, let it knock, yeah. For one thing, we should celebrate redemption instead of condemning it. Corey Pegues, up, talking truth, bruh. Check it out. Once a cop, I used to hunt the block.